Welcome, beauties, to Be Your Own Kind of Beautiful, where I introduce quotes that have been helpful to me in mindset shifts to contribute to my growth and my blooming and becoming the me I strive to be. Today is part 2 of Becoming the Me I Strive to Be on Undefined Roads. If you were not here for part 1 or you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'm going to attempt to link it here, but I don't know how to do that yet. So if I don't figure it out by the time I post, it will for sure be linked at the end. So be sure to check out part 1. And if you would like to know how sometimes the choices that are the hardest turn out to be the best, then this is the video for you. Please stick around and join the journey. Welcome. For this fabulous Think About It Thursday, pull up a drink, make yourself comfortable. Mine today is a Dutch Brothers watermelon fizz. I am so excited. I'm going to take a sip of it and see if it helps my voice. I am so excited they have brought it back. It was my favorite drink last summer, and that's all I got. I never got a single coffee last summer, and they didn't bring it back at the beginning of this summer. I was so disappointed. But last week they announced they brought it back, so yay. Anyway, so I had to grab one to come chat with you guys today. Sorry about my voice. I don't know why it's so froggy. I've been working on it all morning, and it does not want to get better. Anyway, welcome to Think About It Thursday. Just as a quick recap, for part 1, I had realized that I was in fact emerging from some of that dark lost feeling I'd been feeling for so long, and I'd begun to find some fulfillment and joy in what I was doing. And when it was threatened, I found strength I didn't know I had and stood up for myself in ways I didn't know I was capable of. And I've had just emerging growth since then. And that's what we're going to talk about in part 2. 2 quick quotes I want to share with you weren't really part of my planned video for today, but over the last couple of years and have proven over and over to be true for me. So I put a lot of faith in them for myself. One is sometimes the hard things and the right things are the same things. And the other is a quote from Marilyn Monroe, which I've also found to be true, which is sometimes things have to fall apart so that better things can fall together. And again, over and over the last few years, I have found that most definitely to be true and something I can put stock in. The first quote I am going to share today is, "Being uncomfortable and uncertain is a part of learning and growing. Get used to it. It's worth it." I am most certainly uncomfortable in the start of this journey. I'm hoping that it gets more comfortable as time goes by. I am definitely uncertain as I pursue this brand new realm for my life, but I am so excited for it, and I am so passionate. I have a zest for all of it that I have not had in anything in such a long time. It is so refreshing. So I would say it's definitely worth it. You know, they say that all the best things lie outside of your comfort zone. I'm definitely way outside of my comfort zone, but I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. I am happy you are here to join in the journey. And I'm just going to be uncomfortable and uncertain until I'm not. And once I'm not, I'm sure I will find new things to be uncomfortable and uncertain about. So with that said, to make this a part 2 to last week and not leave you hanging, I had found the strength to stand up for myself. I had decided how I was being treated was not acceptable, and that I was going to write a new lesson plan for the people that were mistreating me as well as for myself. So, despite having received the news that I was going to have to find a new place to live, I did not let fear win, and I stuck to my guns with the resignation I had submitted earlier that day. I felt like if I didn't, I would be selling myself out. About 4 months after I'd left that position, if you have not watched the first video yet, the place where I worked and my employer were not one and the same. I worked for a vendor that provided a service. I was that service. And so when I resigned from my employer, I had to leave the place where I worked. I never wanted to, and they never wanted me to, but they went together. So about 4 months after I had left and we had moved and we were getting settled in our new place, I got a phone call from the president of the board of directors of the place that I had worked, and they told me they had fired the company that had been my employer. They were bringing somebody else on board and what I consider coming back under this new vendor. And I jumped on that. It worked out very well. I had essentially got a promotion as in a management position, position with more seniority, the hours I wanted, and higher pay. So all good things that would not have happened had I stayed and allowed myself to be mistreated. So again, definitely reinforced the message of sometimes the hard thing and the right thing are the same thing. And shortly after I went back to work there, I met someone who very much wanted me to come to work for their company. And I was pursued for about 4-5 months by them. I didn't immediately say yes right away for a number of reasons. One, I was flattered is the right word. I was flattered and I was humbled and appreciative that the place thought as much of me as they did to ask me back. Out of a sense of loyalty to them, I was not going to turn around and leave after being brought back. But this person, like I said, pursued me for several months. In so doing, two things happened. One, he kept sweetening the pot, and it made it harder and harder to say no. And two, clearly, they saw something in me that they wanted for their company that was not necessarily, like I still am not really sure what it is or was, but it made me start looking at my own skill set and what I had to offer in new and different ways. And so after like 4 months-ish, I initially took a part-time position to kind of explore and see if it was really, because again, I still really liked the place that I worked. I did not want to abandon them, but the employer left more than a little bit to be desired. So it got more and more inviting to leave. I began to realize if I stayed as much as I wanted to, that ultimately I would become a scapegoat for other people's incompetence. Nothing was so bad that I would have considered looking for something else, but because something was being offered to me and something significant with a very significant pay raise, I had to at least consider it. Ultimately, I decided it was a best move for me in many ways. It was financially a no-brainer. I couldn't look the other way on the money that was being offered. It was in an industry that I really didn't know anything about. And so it was an opportunity to learn something new, which I'm always open to and excited about. And it was an opportunity for me to grow personally. Again, this person clearly saw something in me I did not yet see in myself. And growing into whatever it was they saw was a huge opportunity of growth for me that I welcomed. So after 2 months of working both jobs, one full-time and one part-time, I had put in my notice, and I put in a month's notice this time to have the opportunity to train somebody to take my position because when I went back, I was the only one who really knew the history of things. So with my leaving, there wouldn't be anybody that had that. So I gave them a month's notice. Again, they were very sad. Again, I had lots of pleading not to leave. But at the beginning of 2024, I took that leap of faith, that opportunity to grow personally and professionally and help a company grow kind of from the ground up. And it was super exciting. And I grew in ways I never could have imagined in a very short time frame. And that was all super exciting. But it came at a price. Everything does. I had a professor once who said there's never a free lunch, which leads us to our next quote. Don't you dare shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. Do not become small for people who refuse to, or in my case, or were too afraid to grow. And initially, I didn't see it for what it was. But after I'd left the job that I'd loved, didn't burn bridges, but financially couldn't afford to go back because the pay discrepancy was huge. But after I'd left the job that I'd loved and made this full time, I was told I was too much. I didn't hear it that way initially, but I had too much education. Be sure not to let anybody know that I had an advanced degree. I had too much experience. Don't talk about it. I had... my vocabulary was too big. Try and tone it down so other people aren't uncomfortable. And again, I didn't initially hear that as play small. I later realized that after I had tried very hard to play small. But my vocabulary is my vocabulary. I don't try to use big words. I just have always had a very verbose vocabulary. And that was probably the hardest part, was trying to think of what words were going to be too much for somebody else and what word I could use in its place. That was really hard. And it started to take a toll, and I started to see it for what it was, and this asking me to play small. And again, initially I did. It started to take an emotional toll on me, though, which is when I started to recognize it for what it was. And I still tried. I tried to fit the way they needed me to fit. And then I didn't. I was bold and brave and took chances and stood up for myself as to how the shrinking was not working with the owner of the company, and presented some ideas, and ultimately those ideas were semi-embraced. I was asked to make a proposal, and in January of 2025 I was promoted to a new position, which actually really wasn't a new position. It was exactly what they'd hired me to do. But in the first year I was there, they didn't have me do it. So I came in doing essentially the same things I was brought in to do, with a pay raise and a new title that amounted to, at least on the surface, a promotion. And I was so excited. So excited. In putting together that proposal, that's where I discovered this new passion, is as I was putting together this proposal, there was just something coming out of me, and I realized I had something to offer that I'd never realized before. And I was so excited to provide it and bring it. And again, I'd been brought in to help this company kind of grow from the ground up and provided a foundation. And after observations for a year, had ideas how to do that. And the owner initially bought into that and promoted me. But before I had a chance to do anything, they hired an outside consultant to do essentially the same things that they had just hired me to do. And I was, all of those duties, all of those ideas that I'd presented all got backburnered. And again, I was asked to play small and not use my voice in situations that were detrimental to me and others, and to just stay silent and play small and let it play out. And I did it for a couple more months, and then I just couldn't. I have spent my entire life feeling like I am not enough in every aspect of my life. And I had worked so hard. I have worked so hard. I continue to work so hard to grow and to become and bloom into this new me that I am embracing, that I am excited to be. For the first time in decades, I am excited to be me. And somebody was asking me to be less than that. And I just couldn't. I couldn't fit. I couldn't work hard. I couldn't work as hard as I've worked to grow to fit myself back into somebody I had outgrown, to make somebody else comfortable. And so I tendered my resignation. Super, super, super hard decision, because now I had grown very accustomed to a paycheck that paid me more than I've ever made, ever. I loved what I was doing. I loved the person that I was the right hand for. I loved everything about it. But suddenly, for the first time in my life, it was too much. And I had to embrace the too much her. I couldn't go back to being the not enough her. So that's what brings me here. Again, in putting together all of those proposals and writing up ideas to bring to this company, I believed and I believe for the first time ever, I really have something to offer. Not just I am a body in a job to do whatever I'm hired to do. I, for the first time in my life, believe I have something to offer and bring to the table to make something better. And if I was too much at this company that brought me in, then I needed to leave there and find a place where I wasn't too much, where they welcomed what I had to offer. But in between, I decided that I wasn't going to look for something right away. I was going to take all that I have to offer and invest it in me and build something for myself. I've never quite fit into the working world. I've always been a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, or round hole, whatever that saying is, and never quite fit. So I am here on YouTube working to bring this new passion and continue my journey of growing and blooming, and hopefully in sharing my journey, touching others and helping them find their spark. And that's my goal, and that's why I'm here. And I'm so happy you're here with me to join in that, to hopefully benefit from it, but mostly to become part of this community and to make it ours and to build it. And that brings me to my next quote, which is from Dr. Seuss, of all people. Can you guess what it is? It's a pretty famous one for Dr. Seuss. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. I am so excited to get on my way with all of you. Before we wrap up today, I want to plant some seeds for you for your own journey. Can you think of any times that you have, either by choice or necessity, had to make a really hard decision for yourself, and in the end, it did turn out really well, better than you could have imagined. For me, that has truly been a turning point to recognize that that really difficult decision had the outcome of some of the best things that have ever happened to me. Also, where are some areas that you might be willing to be uncomfortable and uncertain? Again, that the greatest successes lie on the other side of fear have absolutely been true for me in my experience. Anytime I am willing to get a little bit uncomfortable and grow, the growth is always exponential and wonderful, and makes me very glad I took that chance and that leap of faith. And uncomfortable and uncertain is just a part of growing. Some of those most painful times lead to some of the greatest growth. So embrace it with pain. If you embrace it and don't wallow in it, it has the power to be very empowering and lead to much growth, in my experience. I can only speak from my own experience. I am not a licensed counselor. Nothing I say here is meant to in any way represent professional advice. If you need that, feel the need for that, please seek that. It's important. But these are just things that are based on my own experience. And then, what fabulous places, what mountains are waiting for you, and where are you off to? Again, thank you for joining me today. If I was not able to figure out how to link part 1 at the beginning of this video, it will for sure be linked at the end. And as always, if this sparked something in you or for you, please put the word inspired in the comments. And if you'd like to join the journey, please subscribe. There's some tweaks coming. I'm about 3 weeks in, noting where I need to make some changes, but I will be announcing those in my next video. But I hope you stick around and help me build this community to be all that it can be. I look forward to seeing you on Monday for Motivational Monday. Have a great day and be your own kind of beautiful.